Behind this mountain lies one of the world's most isolated dictatorships. A country that has been shunned by the international community for almost 12 years. Bashar Al-Assad's Syria. The country is closed to foreign journalists. Unbelievably, armed with a small camera, we managed to cross the border between Lebanon and Syria. The roadsides were littered with the carcasses of pickup trucks and burnt-out buses. We are immediately struck by the scale of the destruction. We pass through ghost towns, and one desolate landscape follows another. Hundreds of kilometers of concrete skeletons and flattened buildings. Nothing has been rebuilt since the war that broke out in the country in 2011. Bashar al-Assad, the man whose name no one dares mention, is everywhere in giant posters. His soldiers keep an eye on the population with checkpoints set up on all the main roads. To avoid being spotted, we lower our camera. The first stage of our filming takes us to Homs. Before the war, the city was home to almost 1 million people. Just over half have returned. This is what happened to Marie, a 26-year-old architect.
Okay.
She moved to Homs 3 years ago.
Hi.
She lives in this apartment with her sister and mother, in very difficult conditions.
You don't have electricity?
Yeah, we have a lid and battery, so now we don't have electricity.
The Syrian government is unable to provide electricity 24 hours a day.
You have to taste the bully.
Despite these deprivations, Marie would not leave her country for anything in the world.
I'm happy with living here. Maybe most of the people are not, but I know my village destroyed and I am moving from place to another. It's hard, it's not easy, but I have, my family here, and I have a very close people who I love, and I can't leave them.
إن آخر شيء توصلنا له إنه عنده حبيب أو شيء ما بنعرف.
The city of Homs was the epicenter of the revolt in 2011. That year, in the wake of the Arab Spring, the Syrian people demanded greater freedom and the departure of their leader, Bashar al-Assad. But his response came in the form of bloodshed. His regime opened fire on the crowd. The popular revolt soon turned into civil war. The democratic rebels were supplanted by Islamist groups. But with military help from Russia and Iran, the dictator retained power. "12 years after the start of the concoct, only Damascus, the capital, has been spared. The rest of the country is in ruins. 90% of Syrians live below the poverty line. The Assad clan, on the other hand, continues to grow richer. Bashar Al-Assad, the dictator's brother, controls the trafficking of captagon, a drug that brings in billions every year for the regime. His wife, Asma, has seized control of all the country's economic sectors. A journey through Bashar al-Assad's Syria, a field of ruins reigned over by a war criminal. In Homs, 70% of the city has been destroyed by air raids launched by the regime and its Russian ally. Thanks to her architectural studies, Marie is taking part in the Reconstruction. She works for Œuvre d'Orient, a French organization that helps the Christian community. Together with Sister Beatrice, they wanted to renovate 80 houses in the old town.
Ici, c'est l'escalier qu'on a. C'est nous que nous avons fait la reconstruction.
This morning they have an appointment with Zohair.
والله الجيران ست شقق عم يحاولوا وأنا كان في دمار كبير. عمي يجهزوا ولا يرموا.
وين بيتكم؟
الطابق الأرضي على اليمين. تفضل. بس ما في ضوء ولا حاجة.
At the height of the war, Zohair and his family took refuge with friends living outside the town. In their absence, the fighters occupied the premises.
الأغراض وهيك كله انسرق؟ ما لقيتوا شيء بس رجعتوا؟
يعني
ما ضل شيء.
بقايا ثياب بجوز كتب.
The damage is immense, and Zohair can't afford to pay for the restoration work. The organization is going to finance the renovation.
80 سنتي. First, I will measure, the doors and the window, woodworks.
214.
The houses in these former combat zones have not yet been cleared of mines. Zohair found the remnants of ammunition in his home.
حتى فرجيك القذيفة اللي هبطت البناية في الطيارة. هنيك يلا بجيبك. تعال فرجيك تبع الطيارة.
خلص يلا ما في.
هاي اللي هدمتنا من الطائرات.
C'est depuis la retraite.
إلى كمان صار كفايتها لهون. هاي اللي ضربت البلاكين.
Everything on the ground floor is destroyed. But upstairs, Zohair has rebuilt his living room with objects salvaged from the rubble. In the middle is this old leather armchair.
هاي ذكرى من الوالد. طبعا أي شيء بيعني لنا إحنا هون بالبيت. يعني كله ما بعرف. شيء مؤثر. هاي كمان براضي جزء من أهلنا من غرف النوم. يعني عم حاول أعيد الحياة للبناء هون. لأنه هاي نحن ربينا بهالمدينة وكل شيء نحن غالي علينا وعزيز علينا. انت بين الأنقاض هون شيء ناس رك.
Is this family?
neighbours. هاي engagement على فكرة هاي خطوبة.
When we see the families, try, to connect to their past and their homes, that mean a lot for us. We feel like we are doing something to them. Our job mean for the family and all of, the area.
Despite the scale of the work, Marie and her colleague hope to finish in a few months. In most of Syria's major cities, the damage is immense. The UN estimates that it will cost almost $250 billion to rebuild the country. We leave Homs and continue north towards Aleppo, another martyred city disfigured by war. Poverty is apparent on every street corner. Residents have no access to medicines, petrol is rationed, and people queue up to buy bread, watched over by regime soldiers. Yet before 2011, Aleppo was the heart of Syria's economy. Its 16th century souk was its pride and joy. It welcomed millions of visitors and was one of the jewels of the Middle East. Here's what's left of it, piles of stones. The kilometers of galleries of the world's largest covered market are deserted. Very few shops have reopened. The former industrial estate is also a field of ruins. The few families still living there live on stale bread that they dry. Brother Eric is Lebanese and works for the Blue Marists, a Christian congregation. He comes to the aid of this Kurdish Muslim family living in this tent. Ali, his wife, and his 12 children are all sleeping here.
شفنا كتير قذايف وجرار شفنا كتير القذايف هيك فوق رؤوسنا طلقات حوالي الحديقة غير أصوات الحديقة ومرة اجتنا طلقة كمان صاب أجر ابني هذا بركبته اي والله والله تقريبا بدك تقول يعني ما اختلف شيء ما اختلف
They have taken up residence under this makeshift shelter because on 6th February, a new disaster hit the region. An earthquake has killed 6,000 people in Syria. Aleppo was particularly hard hit. Ali's apartment building miraculously withstood the tremors, but it could collapse at any moment. Ali and his family no longer sleep there, but have to go there every day to prepare their meals.
Ça, c'est la cuisine. C'est la cuisine. Alors, ça, c'est les bidons où ils mettent un peu d'eau et ils boivent de cette eau. De cette eau. L'autre, c'est pour laver. Et après le tremblement, on leur a volé la bonbonne de gaz. Donc, ils sont restés sans gaz. Vous pouvez remarquer tout ce qu'il y a. Ici, c'est très dangereux parce que à n'importe quel moment, tout peut tomber. C'est la misère économique, la misère sociale, c'est tout à la fois, tout à la fois. Ça, c'est pas admissible. Qu'en ce temps-là, qu'à cette époque-là, il y a des gens qui vivent dans des conditions aussi effroyables.
Although Ali's building is still standing, in the East Aleppo district, several buildings already weakened by the war did not survive the earthquake 3 weeks ago. Every day, Ahmed, who used to live here, desperately searches through the rubble.
في أغراض كتير للسعمان وجدوها. تعهيزات الحيط تبعت غرفتي كانت. أنا كل يوم بجي لهون، كل يوم. حاولت إنه ألاقي شيء هويتهم أو شغلة من ذكرى.
His entire family has been wiped out. His mother, sister, wife, and 2 young daughters.
هذا الأحرام هذا كان لأولادي. تمينا 3 أيام لقيناهم.
مين هنن؟
أمي وأختي عمرها 5 سنوات، ووالدتي عمرها 41 سنة، وزوجتي عمرها 21، وبنتي عمرها 5 سنوات، وبنتي الثانية عمرها 3 سنوات. هاي أختي وبنتي. أختي ماسة، وبنتي ناهد، وبنتي الثانية شغف.
Like all the victims of the earthquake, Ahmed feels totally abandoned by the Syrian state. In Aleppo, there is no authority in sight. The population is left to fend for itself. Four days after the earthquake, Bashar Al-Assad visited the victims. A propaganda operation to silence criticism of his poor handling of the disaster. In front of the pro-regime media cameras, he immediately blamed the West.
قال بأن الغرب أعطى أولوية للسياسة على الحالة الإنسانية. هذا الكلام غير صحيح، سيعطي أولوية لحالة على أخرى.
Abandoned by the regime, Syrians can only rely on humanitarian aid. According to the UN, 14.5 million of them depend on it. That's 70% of the population. This morning, on the outskirts of Aleppo, a lorry loaded with parcels arrives from Lebanon. On board is Vincent Gelot. He works for Œuvre d'Orient, a Christian charity. And even for NGOs, getting to Syria is no mean feat.
On est parti hier matin de Beyrouth et le camion est arrivé cette nuit à 3h30 du matin. Et donc on a passé 8 heures aux 2 frontières libano-syriennes.
Pourquoi? C'est quoi le problème?
C'est pas un problème, c'est qu'on avait les permis, mais les choses prennent du temps, il fallait que tout soit en règle, et puis tout est compliqué ici en fait. Voilà.
His charity will distribute nappies, powdered milk and clothes to the victims of the earthquake, Christians and Muslims alike. Vincent has been traveling around Syria for 7 years, and in that time, he has seen the country go under.
On s'est un peu habitué à entendre que la Syrie était en guerre, que la Syrie était en crise, mais là, ça va vraiment pas. Il n'y a pas de travail, il n'y a pas de reconstruction à grande échelle, il n'y a pas de porte de sortie pour eux, et en plus, ils ont le sentiment d'être abandonnés. Et ils ressentent vraiment le grand silence qui s'est installé sur eux, sur leur pays, sur leur situation. Et ça, c'est vraiment inacceptable.
The national currency is worthless. The Syrian pound has lost 99% of its value.
Au début de la guerre, $1 équivalait à 53 livres syriennes. Aujourd'hui, c'est 5000 livres syriennes pour $1. Donc on se promène avec des sacs comme ça de billets pour payer une course de taxi, quoi.
With Œuvre d'Orient, Vincent finances economic projects. In the center of Aleppo, he visits a small craft business that is trying to relaunch its activity.
بس الماشين
ايوه بس مقطوع الكهرباء هلا.
هلا ما في كهرباء؟
ما في كهرباء هلا.
Vincent recently financed the purchase of this machine, which is used to manufacture engine parts. But the Syrian government is unable to provide continuous electricity.
Comme on peut le voir, ils travaillent le métal, donc ils réalisent plusieurs types de pièces pour les tracteurs, les voitures, les ascenseurs, enfin les machines-outils en fait.
In addition to infrastructure problems, Syria is suffering from a lack of skilled labor. Most Syrian graduates have gone abroad.
Donc la grande majorité des Syriens qu'on voit vivent sous le seuil de pauvreté. Il y a 95% de la population qui est pauvre. Donc aujourd'hui, toutes les, j'ai envie de dire, l'élite de ce pays est partie, a quitté le pays. Et donc voilà, donc ne restent que ceux qui essayent de survivre dans cette situation, sans électricité, sans travail parfois, sans médicaments, La situation est très dure.
We continue our filming near Damascus, the Syrian capital. Surprisingly, the city is still standing. Still under the control of the regime, it has been spared the fighting. Here, life never stopped. In the old town, the souk is teeming with people. Visitors come to admire the famous Umayyad Mosque, which dates back to the 8th century. This multi-faith city is Bashar Al-Assad's stronghold. So who is this affable-looking dictator who has ruled Syria with an iron fist for 23 years? Bashar is one of the three sons of Hafez al-Assad, the tyrant who ruled the country between 1970 and 2000. Bashar should never have succeeded him. His brother Basil had been designated. But in 1994, he died in a car accident. At the time, Bashar was studying ophthalmology in London. He was forced to return to Syria. And in 2000, when his father Hafez died, he succeeded him after a sham election.
أقسم بالله العظيم أن أحافظ مخلصاً على النظام الجمهوري الديمقراطي.
Bashar, who was only 34 at the time, promised to modernize his country. But on the contrary, he was going to harden the regime. Like his father, he benefited from the cult of personality.
الشعب السوري بالساحات للمجد بيرفع رايات عم يهتف بثلاث كلمات الله وسوريا وبشار.
Under Assad family rule for more than 50 years, Syrians have known nothing but dictatorship and the deprivation of their freedom. Today, thanks to the support of his Russian and Iranian allies, the dictator controls 2/3 of the country. Syria is fragmented. The northeast is ruled by the Kurds. In the northwest, a rebel pocket continues to resist, the province of Idlib. Exceptionally, we were able to penetrate this last bastion of the opposition. It is controlled by Islamist groups and rebel factions. These soldiers are part of the Free Army of Idlib, one of the many groups present in the area. They patrol the front line.
السجلات هذولي وراها مباشرة، أما ليك من هون مبينة المحرة ما بيني بس ليك أغواد هونيك فروا من بين أشكره.
Khaled is from Kafar Roma, a town that fell to the regime 3 years ago.
هلا هاي المنطقة هاي هون قدامك، هاي أقرب نقطة نحن اللي عليها، هاي هون منطقتنا بلدنا أرضنا هون. إيه ونحن يعني رفقاتي قتلوا قدامي، هيك قتلوا قدام عيوني. شو كل ما بنيجي لهوني بنرابط بنطلع هيك يعني ضيعتنا قدامنا وما بنحسن نوصل لها يعني حرقة قلب.
Despite a ceasefire agreement 3 years ago, the truce is fragile. The province of Idlib is regularly bombarded by Bashar's regime and its Russian ally. As of the 25th of June, 13 people have been killed. These strikes, which mainly kill civilians, strengthen Khalid's determination.
اليوم اللي بدهم يقصفوا على المجاهدين، انه بحجه المجاهدين انه عم يضربوا نقطه ضعف المجاهدين، بيضربوا المدنيين، بيقتلوا الاطفال وبيقتلوا المدنيين كلها. يعني
هن مو هيك تفكيرهم.
المدارس ضربوها، الجوامع المساجد ضربوها.
هن ما عرفون عسكري.
Ahmed's anger towards Bashar al-Assad is immense. His brother died after being imprisoned in one of the regime's jails.
لأنه خنزير، هو جاي بده يقتل وبده يستحل وبده يهجر وبده يأسر. بدك أنا أحقد عليه؟ قتاله هلأ فرض علي وعلى كل سوري حر فرض.
طيب في عالم عم تدعمه؟
اللي مناطقه مثلا مناطق النظام مجبورين هدول، يعني ما بيحسنوا يقاتوا ولا حركة، ما بيحسنوا. هلا هن هنيك مخنوقين وبيجوا بيقولوا لك انهم مكيفين. ليش؟ لانهم مجبورين، ما بيسجروا.
After a week at the front, Khaled is granted a few days' leave. He takes the opportunity to visit his family. He is married and has 2 children.
تعي أنا ما صارت لي لو فيها. تعي يلا مسكي. يلا مسكي.
They are in a camp for displaced people in Kili, where 30,000 people are crammed together. The entire Idlib region resembles a gigantic refugee camp. Of the province's 4 million inhabitants, 3 million are people who have fled the regime's areas.
نتمنى نرجع هيك على البلاد، ترجع أولادنا هيك على المدارس، ربيوا في هالمخيمات وفرض علينا القتال. يعني العدو كان جاي علينا، هو جاي ينتهك أعراضنا وجاي بدي يقتلنا، وانفرض علينا القتال وطلعنا قتلناه وتهجرنا. يعني
The province of Idlib is dominated by an Islamist rebel group, HTS. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. SECAS troops maneuver in Mogadishu.
فإن الواجب الملقى على عاتق قادة القوى العسكرية لهو واجب ثقيل، فبالقوة نقارع الظلم والطغيان والاحتلالات المتعددة على أرض الشام.
Today, it has distanced itself from the terrorist nebula and officially broken with the international jihad. HTS wants to redeem itself and restore its relations with the West. In the city of Idlib, the black flag of the jihadists is not displayed. Instead, the colors of the Syrian revolution of 2011 are flying. In the streets, although many women cover their faces, it is not compulsory. And in public places, the mixing of men and women is tolerated. Idlib has become a refuge for more than 100 French jihadists, as well as many foreign fighters. Aslam Chakbanov is Russian and joined Syria in 2015 to fight in the ranks of an Islamist group.
هذا شو؟ جري.
But in 2019, the jihadist laid down his arms. He returned to civilian life.
خليها من هلا لبكره احبسها بالكيف من هلا لبكره.
Aslam is out shopping today, just like everyone else. Unlike in the regime zones, there is no shortage of goods in this supermarket. The stalls are well stocked. Most of the products come from neighboring Turkey.
صلمون لازم صلمون.
فيليه؟ مو نفس السلام.
مو ما لقينا وصلنا.
The former jihadist is desperate for fresh fish because he has become a restaurateur. He runs the only sushi restaurant in the city, Sushi Idlib.
أنا الآن عدة الأنواع وجبات سوشي بكل أشكالها وأنواعها. أحد منها الذي نحن الآن نفعله هو السيزر مع الفروج. هو الآن يسوي لنا الوجبة بالسوشي باسمها السيزر.
يعني عم يشتغلوا هون معك بالطباخين المحل؟
نعم.
في معك سوريين أو كيف؟
لا هنا هم من داغستان شباب. هذا الشاب كان يشتغل في مطعم ياباني في روسيا بأكثر من 10 سنين. تعرفنا معه بجبهات القتال. جبهات القتال يجمع الناس من كل أصناف يعني بتلاقي فيها كل شيء. حد منهم معنا مسافر وثقافي وكاتب رسائل للدكتورة وهو سوشي معلم في السوشي والثاني.
Like him, his former brother-in-arms has swapped his Kalashnikov for an apron and kitchen knives.
مع ذلك مع الأسف الشديد ما نعرف إلى الآن يسمونه بالإرهابيون يعني في كل العالم كما يقول المتطور ولكن ما له علاقة بالإرهاب ولا شيء يعني. أي علاقة السوشي بالإرهاب يعني نفس الشيء يعني كان هناك من اليابان.
Despite its efforts at normalization, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham remains classified as a terrorist organization by the United States. In Syria, the concoct is dragging on and profoundly destabilizing the region. It is spilling over into neighboring countries. Since 2011, 7 million Syrians have fled abroad, making it one of the biggest refugee crises since the Second World War. Nearly 2 million of them have settled in Lebanon. Khor, a border village with a population of 5,000, now has 33,000 Syrian refugees. Tensions are mounting. Bashir Matar, the mayor, is obliged to police the village.
من وين جايين؟ من وين أنت؟ يا حجة أنت معك ورقة هلا إنه ما بتروحي على سوريا بترجعي؟ أكيد؟
من جيت مرة.
معك هويتك؟
هويتي مغبية بالغلط.
مخبية بالغلط، طيب ماشي. يعني ما فيك ترجعي على سوريا ليش؟ جوزك وين؟ متوفي، وين؟
متوفى بسوريا.
طيب ماشي، يلا.
Lebanon is going through a terrible economic crisis. For Bashir, the massive presence of Syrians is only exacerbating the situation.
القسم الأكبر منهم بسبب اقتصادي، لا تدخل الناس خلسة على لبنان بهدف الشغل، بهدف التهريب، بهدف عدة أهداف. أول شيء فلوا عمال سوريين يشتغلوا ضمن القوانين، بس ما فينا نكون هيك بهالمدارسنا. اجتاحوا المدارس، اجتاحوا المستوصفات، المستشفيات، وقت بنكون في مشكلة أزمة بنزين ومحروقات يعني.
The mayor complains about their presence, but the refugees are cheap labor. They work in the fields for $1 or $2 a day. They live in makeshift camps along the farmland.
أنت روحتي إيديك؟ ليه؟ شو صار معك؟ بالمولدة.
300 people live in this one with no running water, no electricity, no hygiene rules, and no safety.
في مشكلة ما بتروحوا على سوريا؟
ايه في مشكلة.
شو هي؟
ما في لسه على المكانات مي آمنة في.
إذا اجت المفوضين ما بتقعدوا هونيك؟ ليه؟
لأنه بلد مو آمن.
Syrian refugees are refusing to return home for fear of punishment by the regime and of finding an even more miserable situation there. Hundreds still try to cross the border illegally every day. They pass through this mountainous area, a lawless area. It has become the scene of all forms of trafficking. Soldiers from the Lebanese army are on permanent patrol. They monitor the passage of refugees, but above all, they are fighting a trade that generates billions of euros every year. Captagon trafficking. A synthetic drug whose production is directly managed by Bashar and his clan. This drug is moved through Lebanon, in particular through the port of Beirut. Noé Pigned, Radio France's Middle East correspondent, investigated the Captagon circuits.
C'est la principale porte maritime au Liban et c'est de là que part énormément de trafic, et notamment le trafic de Captagon qui part ensuite majoritairement dans les pays du Golfe.
Captagon is a synthetic drug with stimulating effects, an amphetamine in pill form that has long been associated with ISIS.
On l'a surnommé pendant un moment la drogue du djihadiste. Il n'y a pas du tout que les djihadistes de Daesh qui prennent cette drogue. C'est une drogue qu'on retrouve dans à peu près tous les théâtres de guerre. Et c'est une drogue aussi qui a été détournée pour des usages plus récréatifs, qui est très présente aujourd'hui dans le Golfe, mais qui commence aussi à arriver en Europe.
Captagon production skyrocketed in Syria during the civil war.
À la base, la Syrie est un pays qui produit des médicaments. Donc il a suffi de convertir en fait quelques laboratoires pour produire du Captagon en Syrie. Et ensuite, quand Bashar Al-Assad a petit à petit repris, grâce à la Russie et à son allié iranien aussi, une très large partie du territoire syrien, il a mis la main aussi sur toutes ces usines de Captagon. Et aujourd'hui, le Captagon, il est produit pratiquement exclusivement dans les zones tenues par le régime syrien.
Hit by international sanctions, with its economy in shambles, Syria has become a narco state. And Bashar Al-Assad, a drug baron.
Pour le régime de Bashar Al-Assad, aujourd'hui le trafic de Captagon, c'est quelque chose de central dans son économie puisque ça rapporte entre 4 et 5 milliards de dollars par an. Ça représente entre 15 et 20% de son PIB et l'essentiel de ses revenus en dollars, en devises étrangères en fait.
More seizures in the port of Beirut. In these images filmed by the Lebanese police, an entire container from Syria is intercepted. The Captagon was hidden in iron tubes. Traffickers also hide the pills in packets of coffee, bags of coal, or in furniture. In Beirut, on the premises of the internal security forces, the fight against this drug has become Colonel Joseph Amsalam's priority.
بلبنان واذا ما نشوف من 2017 لهلا تقريبا حوالي ال 243 مليون حبه، بالتالي اذا بنحكي بنشوف المضبوطات بس نحن ضبطناهم عم نحكي بحوالي يعني عم نحكي ب 10 مليار دولار تقريبا المضبوطات على الاقل.
Investigators from the Criminal Investigation Department are hot on the trail of a trafficker operating on Lebanese soil. The dealer has more than 300 customers and has found a way to multiply his profits.
وبيحاول انه كل شخص عم يعطيه حشيشه او ماريجوانا يحط له بقلبهم حبه كابتاغون. هيدي الحبه بتكون هديه كادو. الغاية منها هيدي انه هو يتعلق بالكابتاغون منشان بعدين يقدر يكون هو سكة كابتاغون قد ما هي هيدي الشغلة فيها ادمان.
The police SWAT team goes to his address to check out the scene before the arrest.
هذا بشوف سيطر هبدا 3 ثواني 3 ثواني.
This is the suspected traffickers' building. The SWAT also uses a drone to photograph the surrounding area. Thanks to these aerial shots, the police will know how to position their vehicles and secure the area during the operation. They will make the arrest a few hours later, in the early hours of the morning.
هذا الباكير نحن حنكون جايين من الطريق. الطاقة اللي هن حيكونوا البارقين، اوكي؟ حتفوت إلي لهون ويترجل منه عناصر الطاقة والماء.
Around 20 police officers were mobilized, because in Lebanon such operations can be dangerous. There are large quantities of weapons circulating in the country. In total silence, the police enter the upper floors. Then they break down the door to the apartment. Surprised in his sleep, the trafficker offers no resistance. He is handcuffed.
والله اقسم بالله اوصوني وحياة الخمس حدود اوصوني قسما بالله اوصوني هاي حاجه احلف وينك سكت قسما بالله اقسم بالله حاجه بليز اسمعني بس لا تصوير وين بضاعتك هاي ما تفتح طبعا وين بضاعتك ما في غيره
The police search the entire apartment. They seized hashish, cocaine, a Kalashnikov, grenades, cash. However, there was no trace of Captagon. The police suspect that he may have hidden it in another hideout. Their investigations will continue. But in the vault at the Intervention Brigade's barracks, the quantities seized by the police are impressive.
هودة تقريبا حوالي 5 مليون حبة من الكبتاغون. ممكن يوصل سعر الحبة الوحدة لقيمة $20 في حال تم صار في نجاح بأنه توصل للبلد اللي لازم توصل له. يعني مثل ما عم تشوفوا هون بتضرب 20 ب5 مليون، عم نحكي تقريبا $100 مليون.
At the height of this lucrative trade, which is said to generate between $4 and $6 billion a year for the Syrian regime, is one of the people closest to the dictator, Bashar Al-Assad, his own brother, Maher Al-Assad. A powerful military leader with a sinister reputation.
Maher Al-Assad, il est à la tête de la 4e division. La 4e division, c'est la troupe d'élite du régime de Bashar Al-Assad. C'est composé d'à peu près entre 10 et 15 000 hommes. Et le Captagon a au départ servi à payer les soldes de ces hommes. Maher Al-Assad, c'est un criminel de guerre qui est poursuivi pour crimes contre l'humanité dans différents pays, notamment la France. C'est avant tout un militaire, mais c'est devenu un baron de la drogue.
Syria has become a narco state, ruled with an iron fist by a family clan. Alongside Bashar and his brother Maher, there is also the First Lady, Asma Al-Assad.
President of Syria and Mrs. Al-Assad.
Before the war broke out, the dictator's London-born wife was admired and held up as an example in the West.
c'est une femme qui a grandi à Londres, qui a fait ses études à Londres, qui a été d'abord banquière pour JP Morgan, pour une banque d'affaires. C'est la vitrine du régime assez rapidement parce qu'elle est très jolie, elle est glamour. Dans la presse internationale, elle va devenir une personnalité aimée. Elle est dans Vogue America, on titre une fleur du désert, une magnifique photo d'Asma Al-Assad. On est en février 2011. 3 semaines après, la guerre civile syrienne commence. Et cette fleur du désert va devenir la femme du sanguinaire, la femme du dictateur, et elle va rester à ses côtés jusqu'au bout. Et donc on sait qu'elle soutient le régime, qu'elle soutient sa répression.
Why did you decide to stand by your husband and to keep silence all these years?
Well, from my perspective, it was never a question of preference. I stood by him because my conviction didn't tell me otherwise.
Today, Asma has become the most powerful and wealthiest woman in Syria. She has a stranglehold on every economic sector.
Asma El-Assad va, en bonne banquière, assez rapidement devenir l'argentière du régime. Donc elle va mettre la main sur les télécoms, sur l'immobilier, sur les banques. Elle va tout contrôler.
Worse still, she'll go as far as to use force to get what she wants.
Elle va en fait enfermer les hommes d'affaires syriens en 2019 dans un hôtel dans le Sheraton à Damas et les forcer en fait à lâcher leur business pour contrôler en fait toute l'économie syrienne. Et aujourd'hui, elle est à la tête d'un empire économique.
A ruthless and corrupt businesswoman, Asma Al-Assad, is also accused of being complicit in the war crimes committed by her husband. In particular, those committed in August 2013 in eastern Ghouta. The regime's chemical weapons caused the deaths of 1,500 people in this suburb near Damascus. We traveled through this area during our clandestine filming in Syria. It's a desolate place, just like everywhere else in the country. Except Damascus, the capital. Here, the preoccupations of young people oscillate between the desire to forget the war, the desire to get by, and the daily grind. In the central district of Bab Touma, we have an appointment with a young architect. Selim is 23. He lives in a flat share in this large apartment.
I have 3 roommates and the house owner, the home owner here, in this section. That's my modest room. It's the biggest one here.
Selim moved to Damascus 3 years ago, where he is studying architecture. Some of his family are still in Homs, his hometown.
My grandfather, my mom and my sister, my father.
His father died during the civil war. He was one of the 300,000 victims of the regime.
He is killed by a bomb in our balcony in our home in 2016.
To finance his studies, Selim works a few streets away in old Damascus. He is the manager of a study zone, a workspace financed by charity. The electricity works 24 hours a day. The internet connection is free. Young people of all faiths are welcomed here. But in Syria, unemployment affects 50% of young people. Many people at the center dream of going elsewhere, like Ribal, 25.
Recently, I studied German, Deutschland Sprache, because I want to travel to Deutschland. We are going all abroad. We think that.
Why?
Because of the situation here, because of the future here is not clear for me as a doctor. I can't work here and have money to have a great life as I imagine, and I have big dreams. I think here it's something hard to do.
Worn out by 12 years of war, the youth of Damascus are trying to forget their traumas. As night falls, the cafe terraces come alive. Alcohol is allowed, and most of the women do not cover their faces. Salim meets his best friend in this trendy bar in the capital.
Rita, it's my friend.
Your girlfriend?
No. I don't have time. I don't have money. You know, if you want to have a girlfriend, you have to buy gifts and Valentine and dates every time. No.
And Rita, you don't have boyfriend?
No, not really, no.
Why?
Because now I'm actually like focusing on my future. So I don't want anything like to take my attention or maybe if I had a boyfriend here, maybe I would change my plan and stay here and stuck here. I don't want this.
In addition to her modeling career, Rita has just graduated from medical school.
Planning to travel abroad, maybe America. So to get my specialized there and yeah, to get a better life.
The two friends don't want to think about the war or Bashar. They sing along to a popular song. They sing about love. Despite hundreds of thousands of deaths and accusations of war crimes, Bashar al-Assad has rejoined the Arab League after 12 years of exclusion. A return to the international stage that strengthens the dictator and sounds the death knell for his people's dreams of freedom.